Hello my loves, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm bringing you part 3 in what turned out to be our 4-part series of our trip to Italy. Part 1 is in Taormina, Sicily, part 2 is in Rome, and today we are traveling by train from Rome to Florence. The train system in Italy was very enjoyable and easy to use. Now I'm not going to lie to you and say that I bought the tickets because I didn't. Stephen did all of that. He is the planner in this couple, so I just don't want to take that joy away from him. But it was so amazing to just sit and watch the Tuscan countryside whiz by. Trains have easily become one of my favorite ways to travel. We've taken a few trains in the States, and then obviously that was our main form of transportation as we got from city to city in Italy. You can see the farms and vineyards as we go by, and it just got me so excited for what was ahead in Florence. It seems like it's become a bit of a tradition to get gelato as soon as we get into a city. This was one of my favorite flavors. I think it was pistachio and rose mint. So good. That was our little snack before we went and got in line for our tickets at the Accademia. I've actually been to Florence, but it was 15 years ago. I've seen the Accademia and the David, but I did enjoy it a lot more this time. Again, like I said before, I think with age you just appreciate art a little bit more, and it was fun to walk around with Stephen. Of course, we listened to Rick Steve's audio tour that just helps bring everything to life. You actually understand a little bit what you're looking at, and you can move at your own pace, which is really nice. Plus it's free. So we ended up just really taking our time walking around, looking at all the different paintings and sculptures and listening to the tour. And I would definitely recommend at least stopping by this museum when you turn and see the David down the long hallway. It really does take your breath away. It's really cool to see such a famous sculpture in real life. After the Accademia, we continued to walk around Florence and headed towards the Duomo. I loved Stephen's unfiltered reaction to how massive this church is.
Big ass church.
Yeah. It really is so massive, and seeing it in real life for the first time does just kind of, again, take your breath away. We ended up eating in a food hall, which was very different, but it was nice to walk around and just eat what looked good. We got to sample a lot of different things. Here's one of the things we ate, and then on the way home we saw a very peaceful gathering for all the things happening in the world, and we ended our night by hearing church bells. We got up pretty early on day 2, and it was cool to see how some of the popular sites were so dead early in the morning. So this is just another tip to get up early to go and see things. But today we were going on our wine tour to the Chianti region of Tuscany. This is probably one of the things I was most excited for, just because Tuscany is like just the top of the top when it comes to wine, at least in my opinion, and I've seen so many pictures and movies of the scenery and the landscape, and I was just so excited to see it with my own eyes. And man, it did not disappoint. I will link our tour below because our tour guide Alessandro did such a beautiful job not only explaining the history of Tuscany, like going all the way back to ancient Romans and Latins, and how they brought so many things to this region and really got to know the land and use the land to make this beautiful wine. And he took us through the whole wine making process, from what goes in the soil to how what is in the soil affects how the wine tastes. And just this tour really made me realize how much I didn't know about wine, and I'm definitely not a wine expert now, but I did have some really good takeaways that I'm going to carry on with me as I continue to be a wine drinker. Something that became so apparent after listening to how passionately Alessandro talked about wine and the winemaking process and how each one of these vineyards do it just a little bit differently was how much these people care about their land and how connected to the land they are. That is something that just really stuck with me because I think that is something we can be lacking, especially here in North America, just because we're a little bit newer to our land in terms of how long these people have lived on their land. I go into this in a lot more depth in episode 169 of Alignment Adventures podcast if you're interested, but I just found that very refreshing how much they cared about their land and they really thought about how generations and generations in the future will be using this land. So they know they need to treat the land with care and respect and intention. And I just feel like we've really lost that over here. Not for everyone in North America, but a lot of the people I see. So as we head to the second vineyard, the 4x4 capabilities of the vehicle we are traveling in really came into play. This vineyard definitely wins the award for best views. I felt like I was looking at a painting. This is exactly what I think of when I think of the Tuscan countryside. And we ate lunch here and the lunch was incredible. I did try a few things that I wasn't the biggest fan of, like chicken liver bruschetta, as they call it, not bruschetta. But still, the wine and the views were just next level. Like, I want everyone to experience this. If you want to go to Tuscany, highly recommend this tour and just loved every moment of this winery. Now at this point, I really didn't think the wine tour could get any better, but somehow it did. Our last stop was at a winery at an Italian villa, this Italian estate that dates all the way back to the 15th century. It's gone through a couple different families, but it was recently bought by a family about 20 years ago, and the owner was the co-founder of the skin brand The Ordinary. I mean, he's done a lot of different things. He's kind of like an entrepreneur of sorts, but I found that so interesting because I use that skincare brand. I'm currently using that skincare brand, but we were able to walk around the estate, see where the wine was made, walk around the gardens in the back. It was just one of those experiences where I was like, pinch me, I can't believe I'm currently walking around an Italian villa, something I never thought I would do in this lifetime, but it was breathtaking seeing the beautiful gardens with the Tuscan landscape in the background and ending it with beautiful wine. Like, what more can you ask for? Day 3 was really nice. Even though we had a lot of things that we wanted to see, we didn't have to be anywhere at a specific time. So we really just kind of created the day and flowed with the day and what felt fun and exciting. We started by taking a bus ride up to Michaelangelo Square. I was a little nervous to take the bus just with our experience in Sicily, but it was so easy and such a great way to get up there instead of hiking all the way up to the top. You can see the medieval wall that goes all the way around the city. It's such a cool cool viewpoint with obviously breathtaking views. Such a beautiful way to see the city. And I actually recreated a photo that I took back in 2009. Like I said, I've been here before, so it was really fun to recreate that and have it side by side and see how not only the vegetation has changed, obviously I've changed externally, but even just reflecting on my own internal growth was really fun to do at this point. We spent a little bit of time just walking around the square, taking in the view, and then we ended up walking down the stairs back to the city center of Florence. One of my absolutely favorite ways to see a city is to just walk around it. It was such a beautiful day weather-wise, so we just walked along the Arno River on our way to Ponte Vecchio, taking in the scenery and the ambiance and the energy. Now, Ponte Vecchio is an enclosed arch bridge, and it used to be a place where they would sell meats. I believe it dates all the way back to medieval times, but over time, due to the smell, they changed it to a place where they sell fine jewelry. So we just walked around, looked at the fine jewelry, looked at the beautiful views over the Arno River and the buildings that line the river, and then last minute we decided to go to the Uffizi art gallery. This is a spot that I didn't go to last time I was here, and they have some really famous paintings like the Birth of Venus, so I thought it'd be really fun to do something new. And honestly, it was really cool to, of course, listen to Rick Stevens, audio guy, and just see how art has evolved not only from the Middle Ages to modern times. Obviously, Florence is the birth of the Renaissance. A lot of the Renaissance happened here, so we saw a lot of Botticelli, Raphael, Michaelangelo, and so many more paintings. I, again, actually enjoyed this way more than I thought I would, but we really took our time going through here, really taking in how art has evolved over the ages. After stumbling into this delicious restaurant, which is very easy to do in Italy, there are so many, I got cacio e pepe for the second time, this time with truffles. The Tuscany region is actually known for their truffles, so it was very, very delicious. Just took the whole dish up a notch. And then I decided to go for a little solo adventure. Steven wanted to go back and take a nap. He was a little museumed out at this point, which I totally get. We've seen a lot of museums at this point, but I really wanted to go to the Galileo Museum. The science teacher and me, the science enthusiast in me, was just really nerding out here. There were so many ancient science artifacts with astronomy and biology and chemistry. Again, I can't even begin to tell you all the things that you are looking at, but what was interesting is they actually have one of Galileo's preserved fingers on display, which I found interesting but also a little disturbing. I don't know, what are your thoughts on that? But I just continued to walk around the museum at my own pace. It was really fun. They have their own audio tour that you can listen to for free if you download the app as you're going through the museum, and it explains all the different ancient artifacts like this primitive calculator, and there was even a primitive periodic table. Again, the science teacher in me was just loving this. As if we haven't been to enough museums in this day, we ended the day by going to the Leonardo da Vinci Museum. This one is super interactive, similar to the interactive pieces that I saw in the Galileo Museum. This one is full of interactive pieces and all the different inventions that Leonardo da Vinci had. This is a really cool museum. It'd be cool to take kids to, maybe older kids, so they can experiment with these things as well. But by the end of this, we were exhausted. So we grabbed some pizza to go, headed back to our hotel, actually stopped by a cute church on the way back because we tried to go to the Duomo, but it was closed. That was the theme of the trip, getting to churches as they were already closed. And just watch the sunset from the panoramic view of the top of our hotel. This was such a magical way to end the day. We absolutely loved our time in Florence. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. We had the final installment of our Italian trip in the incredibly unique city of Venice. So I'm so excited to bring you that adventure. If you like this video, please like it on YouTube, comment below with any of your feedback or questions. I'm sending you all so much love, all the highest vibes, and of course I will see you in the next video.